Hey man, welcome to the Super Divorce channel. If you think you're gonna like this video, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up now. And if you're digging it here, go ahead and subscribe. Just make sure you bong the gong for notifications so you know when new videos go live. Now then, please look forward to this video. Enjoy, chefs.
Hey man, welcome back to the Super Divorce channel. Nicholas Villars here, aka Super Divorce. I play music. I'm creating a Proudly Comicsgate comic book, and today I'm taking a look at Kamen America Volume 3. Volume 3, this is called Homeland Insecurity. Bit of a play on words. And this is our third video on the Kamen America series. Quick recap. Who are the ladies you see in front of you on the screen right here? This is the front cover of the hardcover Kamen America Volume 3. Over on the left, that is Kamen Ramen. In the middle, you got Kamen America. And then over on the right-hand side, you got Kamen Comet. They are known as the Kamen Core, the preferred Kamen Core, if you will, in my opinion. Everyone hates the Kamen Core being pushed in school, but everyone loves the Kamen Core that you see on your screen right now. Kamen Ramen can control water. Kamen America controls, she's got like electric powers, and then Kamen Comet can, well, she can control fire. She's a real firebrand. So let's see what's going on here in Kamen America Volume 3. Well, we start off going back in time again, like we did in Issue 1 and Issue 2. Issue 1 and 2 both started with flashbacks, and we're going to get more of it here. We're starting off the same way. Going back to high school. This is right after the school dance that we saw that opened up Issue number 2. And if you might recall, Sylvia, who is in present times, not in the flashback sequences, in present times has become known as Kamen UN. She is also a superhero or heroine. But back in the day, she sort of usurped Carly, the redheaded gal, Kamen America. She usurped her at the school dance because Carly is a dress designer. She loves designing clothes. She made a bunch of dresses for all of her classmates and was almost sure that someone that she designed a dress for was going to take home best dressed at the dance, the big prize. None of her dresses got that designation. Unfortunately, Sylvia over there on the left, she's the one who took home best dressed because she got her dress from Paris. So at school, Sylvia comes up to Carly and she's like, hey, you know, look, if you want to improve your designs a bit, maybe you should check out this French design book that I've got here. This will teach you about French haute couture, and you can maybe improve your designs. You can take some lessons from the French designers who you know, allowed me to win best dressed at the dance. And she hands her this book, and Carly is very upset with it. She doesn't want her help. That was something that was resolved in Issue 2, by the way. Carly had a very bad attitude towards Sylvia and her stealing the spotlight and all this kind of stuff. But by the end of it, by the end of Issue 2, she had kind of worked that out. And she realized it's more important to do a good job, to do your best, and to help people than to necessarily get recognition for it, right? She made all these fancy dresses for her classmates. They had a great time. That's what matters, not who took home best dressed. But anyway, Sylvia tries to help her out. Carly doesn't see it that way. She thinks that Sylvia is kind of, she's kind of ribbing her a little bit. But she goes home. She takes this book home. She starts reading through it. And she sees some stuff. And she's like, hey, wow. Maybe I can learn a thing or two from this haute couture, you know. And improves her dress design. She actually creates a sash made of polyradex. See her doing that? She's kind of holding this thing out. By the way, if you notice, my shirt is apparently being caught up in the chroma. even though this is blue. I'm not wearing a green shirt. That shouldn't be happening. So I'm slightly see-through today. Anyway, the polyradex, she discovered it in this haute couture book that Sylvia gave her, and she created this wonderful sash. And if we might for a minute, let me point out the polyradex that she used right here, that she had the idea to use by reading this book that was given to her by Sylvia. The polyradex is what she noticed on Kamen Comet's costume when they were fighting in issue 1. They were in the midst of battle, and she noticed that Kamen Comet had used polyradex in her suit, and she brought that up, and that's how she realized, hey, this lady I'm fighting, this Kamen Comet, this Russian bad girl, she likes to design clothes too. And that's how they bonded. And that's how that's how they ended up teaming up, getting on the same side. They bonded over that shared love of fashion and designing their costumes. So right here we get the origin. We find out that moment never would have happened had not Sylvia given Carolee this book about French fashion design, tying it all together. That's cool stuff. I like that. So anyway, Sigmund, also known as Siggy, he's kind of Carolee's beta orbiter, if you will. He's had feelings for her. He won't say anything, even in present times. We find out in this book that he still has not said anything. They're just friends. All this time later, this moment takes place when they're in high school, and he's like, so after graduation, he's kind of thinking about them being more than friends. And she goes on about what she's going to do with dresses, and what she's going to do with fashion design. And then he whaps her in the head. Whap. I think this was before the WAP song came out. But he whaps her in the head. Well, first of all, that's not a very good way. You guys are in high school. You're in high school. You can't be whapping girls on the back of the head. If you have feelings for them, you got to be a little more sophisticated than that. So, establishing himself as a true beta orbiter, he doesn't even know how to share his feelings with Carolee. He's like, oh, you didn't know what I was talking about. It's probably because you're, what he's calling her, handicapped, like mentally slow, because she was hit in the head with a baseball as a kid. That's how issue 1 started, was a flashback of her playing baseball as a child, getting beamed in the head. And he's still using that against her. And he's like, oh, you're not picking up on my cues. It's probably because you're challenged. But she gets what he's saying, and she's like, I have thought about it too. She's blushing a little bit. Maybe they're going to have that talk, but no, this guy in the background, his car's exploding. He's having car troubles. This guy might look familiar to you, because this is, what's his name, Lansky. This is the guy who ends up being Carolee's PR person, her manager, in book 1, who goes on to manage and sort of handle PR and makes the character of Kamen UN in book 2. This guy, he's a real dick, but we're going to see how Carolee ended up, being represented by him in the first place. Where did they meet up? How was she able to get in touch with this guy? Well, you see right here. His car is exploding in the background. Her beta orbiter, Siggy, he's like, well, I'll fix your car for you for nothing, while this guy basically just talks shit about him. He's grumbling to himself. Meanwhile, he's noticed the polyradex that Carolee has used on her sash, and he's like, hey, that's nice material. Isn't that stuff really tough to work with? And she's like, yeah, but I can do it. Oh, well, hey, here's my card. Lansky and Schultz, media relations, talent agent. He hands her a card, and he's like, look, if you ever get out of this podunk town, give me a call, kid. And there you go. If you're ever wondering how she hooked up with him, how'd she become represented by his agency, well, there you go. Now you know the whole story. Now, in present times, The Common Core have gone on a bit of a tour together. They're going around to like county fairs and stuff, and they're putting on this performance where they change into their superhero versions, and they will throw out ramen cups for people, kind of the way that Kamen Ramen did when she was in Japan. That was her origin story. Talked a bit about that in the last video, how she came to be Kamen Ramen. She was bestowed upon with these magic powers, if you want to call them that, where she could control water, and she became the new mascot for her father's ramen company. And she would go out, she would toss cups out to people, she would control water and make it heat up and then fall in their cups, and then it'd be a great show. But now they're all doing it. They're all helping out her father's ramen company. They're doing this big kind of county fair tour, making ramen for people, having a good time. Kamen Comet doesn't like it so much because she's brought up the point, hey, what happens if we need to use our powers and we've just expended all of them, because they can only last for so long. I think it's like 3 hours per 24 hours, and they have to recharge. She's like, what if we do these performances and then we're attacked right after a long show and we lose power? They're like, that's not going to happen. Our fights are quick enough, whatever. So, well, then it happens at this performance. These guys have taken the shape of human beings. They're disguised, and then they reveal themselves. These are the insectoid infantry stab beetles, and they come out. They attack. Carly doesn't like that. She doesn't like the bugs, but Kamen Ramen, she actually wants to be a geologist. She's interested in this kind of stuff. She's like, ooh, pretty skulls. They have neat skulls. So anyway, they battle for a minute. It doesn't last too long. Luckily, they don't lose their powers, but what's her face? Masquerade. Why can't I think of it now? Shit. What's her damn name? What the hell was it? You know what? I've done this before. I couldn't think of the guy's name, and I sat here for probably 15 minutes and I stared at the camera. I said, I'm going to figure this out. Vermilion Masquerade. She appears. She is the one creating these monsters. She's told us as much last issue. Is she going to create more? I don't know. But just in the nick of time, Kamen UN shows up. Sylvia, coming to save the day, as it were. And last issue, this might have been something that Carly was annoyed by, but now she's like, okay, whatever. Sure. Mr. Lansky, what's he up to in present times? Well, you might recall in the last issue, at the end of the issue, he was confronted by two mysterious villain types. One person was wearing a mask, another was a blonde lady. There was like an editor's note, telling you that you needed to read Black Hops, one of those issues, to get the full story on these people. So I haven't done that. I'm going to have to investigate more of the Black Hops world to fully understand what's going on in Common America. But he had met up with these two villains. They said that they needed to be put in touch with Vermilion Masquerade, who he's actually working with now. And so one of her little bug guys, you see him down there, he's just a little guy, just a little sweetheart. He's in Lansky's office, and Lansky's giving him some payment for the job that he's alluding to. Here's payment for tonight's job, and then when you get back to the boss lady, make sure she reads the message she put in there. He's like, schmucks are starting to mix up Kamen UN, who he's representing. That's one of the reasons that Kamen UN and Carly don't like each other. It's like, this is her old boss, her old manager, and now he's working with her old rival from school. But he doesn't like the fact that people are mixing up Kamen UN with the Common Core. A lot of normies just look at these ladies on the screen, they're fighting crime, they're super powered, and they assume all these chicks, they're together like one big team, but they're not. So he doesn't like that, and he wants it fixed. How that's going to happen, we'll find out. But now, back to a little hangout that's going on. Our Kamen core team and Sigmund they're chilling with Vicky. This is what's her face? Carly's friend. She's a bit of a nerd, She is a geologist. I think, like I said, Kamen Ramen, she wanted to be a scientist. She couldn't quite make it in school. But Vicky, she's doing well. She's on that path. And she's been studying the mud that these monsters turn into after they're defeated. And she thinks that she's come up with a discovery. She's like, I've been looking at this mud, and I think I've got something. I think I've figured this out. And Carly's like, are you talking about chimeratons? This catches Vicky off guard because she's like, how does she know this terminology? What's she talking about? Chimeraton. And she's like, yeah, they're the particles that make up cryptid catalyst radiation. And this is throwing Vicky off. And then Carly lays it out for her, and she's like, oh, yeah, Dr. Gracie, who was the guy who ran the test on her back at Area 51 when she was first recovered from the crash site, when she was given her powers. They took her back to Area 51. She was examined, all this kind of stuff. They offered her a job in the military. She turned that down. You might remember all this. But he laid it out for her. He told her about these particles. She's more knowledgeable in this field than Vicky ever would have thought. And it kind of catches her off guard, and she's a little annoyed by it, And she's like, yeah, why don't you come with me the next time I go to Area 51 and you can talk to Dr. Gracie. I'm sure he'd love to meet you and hear what your studies have turned up. But a dejected Vicky doesn't want to do that. She is feeling a bit the way that Carly did in the last issue, like she's been one-upped, like she's been bested. She's more worried about her discovery being her own than contributing to the team, than contributing, what bit she might have that Dr. Gracie doesn't know. She's mad that someone else is even the slightest bit knowledgeable about this, that she has not cracked the code all herself. So, slam. There's like a panel showing this slam to show you that as Carly is telling her, yeah, I'm sure that Vicky would love to come and meet you, Dr. Gracie, because she's on the phone with him. Slam, the door closes. Vicky has left the building, and that's how we know she's not going to be down for that. So, cut from there over to the gun shop where Sigmund works. Siggy, the beta orbiter, who still years later has not told his high school crush how he feels about her because he got interrupted by a guy whose car broke down. Never got back around to it. But he works at his parents' gun shop, and, he's hanging out with Kamen Comet. And it seems like there might be a little something building between these two. I get that feeling. That might be something that's coming down the pike. Maybe he'll tell her how he feels. Anyway, some of the bad guys burst into the shop. He picks up one of the many guns that are at his disposal and takes care of business. I'm sure that that made Kamen Comet feel protected and maybe turned her on a little bit. We'll see if that comes into play. So here's where we find out about the plan to separate Kamen America and the Kamen Corps in the eyes of the public from Kamen UN. Kamen America is on the, I've been calling her Rachel Maddow. It's not Rachel Maddow. This is, hold on, where was it? Rosie Shadow. That's what they've got written up there. She's on the Rosie Shadow show, and, Rosie's kind of making these comments. She's like, why is it that every time we see the Kamen Corps out there, it takes Kamen UN showing up to save the day? Why is she the one rescuing you guys all the time, it seems? And they have a back and forth, it gets kind of heated. But this has been a sort of a setup. You can bet your bottom dollar that Lansky was behind this, where he's like, grill her. and remind the people she is not working with us. Kamen UN is the one who shows up and saves the day because those amateurs can't handle it on their own. This is like the big coming out party, if you will, for Kamen UN, where people are going to know, oh yeah, no, she's not on the Kamen Core team. I saw the the Rosie Shadow show. She's not part of it. You know, they had a whole fight about it. However, it's not really Rosie Shadow. It's really Vermilion Masquerade. She's been masquerading as Rosie Shadow, and she takes her true form, sitting at the desk doing this interview. A bit of a shock, and then she sends her goons in, more of these guys. Kamen America powers up, and who bursts through the window but Kamen UN? And very quickly, the battle turns from the bad guys to the good guys. They end up going at it one against the other. The two heroes, the two heroines, they have a bit of a standoff, and then they really get into a bit of a fisticuffs. And it goes on for a minute, but then they end up screaming at each other like, you're no better than me. And then that leads to a moment of resolution and understanding. Like, what are we doing? Why are we fighting each other? We're both good guys. We don't actually have a good reason to hate each other, do we? Sylvia, Kamen UN, says, no, I don't think so. Behind the scenes, Lansky was not expecting a moment like that. And I don't know, was Vermilion Masquerade? Either way, here's a big moment in the story. Kamen UN's entire suit begins to melt. Her power suit melts, begins just dripping off of her, and Vermilion is standing back there, revealing the entire time that suit was under her control, and she was only using it at her allowance. No one knew this. No one knew this the whole time, and it's been revealed. And so now we can assume Kamen UN is basically dead in the water. Why did this happen? Why did she do this? Well, it's because she started getting along with Kamen America, I think. So that scene ends, and that seems to be Vermilion Masquerade's big play there. We follow that up with the Kamen Core group going on a new trip. They're going to head out to the West Coast. They're going to, what was it? Hoover Dam, I think, is where they're going. And everyone's going, even Sylvia, because there's been a bit of an understanding reached here, even more so than we saw in the end of issue 2, where Kamen UN and Kamen America seem to be slightly on the same page. Now they've moved past that. Now it seems like they're actually becoming friends. Sylvia has no powers, though, but she's got this group to hang out with. She's been invited to come along, and everyone's on good terms. Everyone's going to have a good time. Vicky is dropping them off. She's chosen not to go along because she still seems to be upset about the fact that she didn't have this huge epic discovery that she thought she had. Even though she might have information that Dr. Gracie can use, she's not going to go along. She's staying behind. She's taking her ball and going home. So at Area 51, Kamen Ramen is being checked out, just a routine checkup. Dr. Gracie tells her, hey, you seem fine. Your body's not being harmed by any of this radiation that you were stricken with, the stuff that gave you your powers. You're good to go. But then he reveals, you know what, I'm glad you brought your friend Sylvia because I'm actually really interested to talk to her. After finding out that her suit was made of this radioactive mud, the same stuff the monsters are made of, and that she was controlling it with her mind, of course, while she was being allowed to do so by Vermilion Masquerade, he's like, this is all interesting to me, and I want to see how this has affected a regular person, someone who is not directly in the path of one of these meteorites, if you will, but someone who came to use these powers secondhand. How is this working for you? How is it affecting you? And you get a little backstory here about how this space probe that was coming back from another planet had gathered some intel. It blew apart in the sky, shattered into 4 pieces, and you got, 3 that you know about. Obviously, one went to Carolee, the other one went to Kamen Comet, and the other one went to Kamen Ramen, and there's a 4th. You can probably figure out who the 4th piece went to, because what does Vermilion Masquerade do? She's controlling the earth. She controls the mud. I'm starting to put some things together here. But what they were interested in was taking this technology, taking this strange material, and crafting their own version of the common UN suit. That's what they wanted to do. But they were having trouble figuring out a way to interface with it. It's like we can maybe use it to create armor or what have you, but we can't find a way to control it. And that's where he's like, Sylvia, you have controlled this stuff before. It took you a while, but she was able to learn to control it. And they go through the process of her learning to control it. When she first put the suit on, you see that she was having some trouble. It was going wild and all this kind of stuff, but she ended up getting it down. And so they're interested in her ability to do that. So it's like maybe she's going to get back in the game here. Then an alarm goes off. What is it? Vermilion Masquerade has showed up at Area 51 with her minions and her goons. And the Common Core team gets into action. They head outside. They begin battling. I like this particular page right here where they did a nice combo move called a freezer burn. I like that. Kamen Ramen and Kamen Comet teaming up there, getting some business done. But then out of nowhere, Carolee's electric blasts stop affecting these enemies. And Vermilion Masquerade reveals to her the only reason that your attacks have worked in the past is because I've been blowing them apart on my command. And some of the smaller ones you can maybe break apart with blunt force, but the big bad guys, your electricity is not going to work against them because they're dirt based, and your electric attacks are not going to do anything to that. And then even more bad news, because they've been out on the West Coast doing these shows, their power stops working. Kamen Comet's fears come true, and it's like, oh shit, we have no power now. How are we going to fight this fight? So they have to run away. They go inside this hangar. They slam the door shut. All the bad guys are still outside trying to get in. But then the door opens back up and we get some boom, boom, boom. There's some fire. There's some firepower in there. Somehow they got some energy back. Sylvia, formerly Common UN, comes out in Common America garb, saving the day. All the media who are there watching, they think it's Common America coming out and saving the day because she's got the blonde hair, she's wearing the suit, she's using the powers. For all intents and purposes, this is Common America for the moment. And she does a real good job. She saves the day. And then when she's done, she gives Carly her mask back, which Comet was worried about. She's like, oh great, look at her out there now. She's going to take your identity. But when she comes back inside, she gives the mask back to Carolee. She's like, you have this. No one else will ever be Common America but you. I stepped in to help out for a moment, but this is yours. And she doesn't even care about taking credit for it. So that's a great moment right there. But then just as quickly, she's slammed across the room. Vermilion Masquerade is back. They're all out of power, seemingly. But Kamen Ramen has a thought. She's like, if we douse ourselves in our elements, we might be able to force a momentary recharge. So she finds some beer, she glugs it down, and then she blasts Vermilion Masquerade, ending this fight. And I'm not going to tell you what happens. It's a big moment though. Probably the biggest twist so far in this comic series. So I didn't want to reveal that. I'll let you guys check that out on your own. And yeah, I didn't see it coming. So you have to check that out and let me know. Well, maybe don't let me know what you think, unless you can do it in a spoiler-free way, because I don't want it spoiled for other people. But anyway, then we go to the epilogue of the book. Lansky is meeting up with these two villains from Black Hops. This lady in this epilogue, it's revealed, is actually Kamen Comet's sister. So there's a bit more, story that's being woven together here, starting to make sense of things, and they finally get to meet up with Vermilion Masquerade, and it's going to be continued in Black Hops Cross Kamen America, which is being funded right now, which I'm going to have to now pick up so I can see where this story goes. And in the meantime, I'll have to go back and read the other Black Hops stories to see what other narrative threads might fit in here with this story, because I'm very curious now. But that's it. That's Kamen America Volume 3, Homeland Insecurity. I would say this is my favorite one so far. Enjoyed this one thoroughly. So I would highly recommend it. Get out there and pick it up. Find yourself a copy of it wherever you can. Probably on eBay. They might have them available still on their actual store. So just look it up. Just Google it or DuckDuckGo it, whatever you like to use. Also, before we head out, I thought it was funny. In this one, in the like the front page of each book, when you flip it open, there's a quote by someone. This one they used Theodore Roosevelt. I think in the second one it was Calvin Coolidge. And then book 1 is Doug TeNapel. Thought that was kind of interesting. And one of these things is not like the other, that type of deal. Not talking shit, I'm just saying that's you've got a modern day comic artist and then two renowned figures from history. Interesting. And also in the book they give you some extra artwork that you can look at. Here's the Kamen Victory Mark II armor prototype. This is what I believe Sylvia comes out and saves the day in at the end of the book. She's looking good there. Some more fan art. And then Kamen America, Carly enjoying a nice cheeseburger on the back. Fantastic. Great job. So that's going to do it. Everyone, go out and pick this one up. Till next time, make sure you're listening to your Super Divorce music on Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, wherever you like to stream your tunes. If you're a fan of Depeche Mode, Tears for Fears, New Order, and such, you're going to love this album, Action Figures. If you stream it and fall in love with it, you want a physical copy, go to superdivorceme.com and pick up a CD, a cassette tape, grab yourself a vinyl record. I recommend you just celebrate the entire catalog. Get one of each. Great for collecting. Great stuff. All the lyrics and everything included. You're going to love it. Nice blue cassette tape. Nice translucent blue on the vinyl record. Check it out. I'd appreciate you. Sub to the channel if you haven't done so. Bong the gong for notifications so you know when new videos go live. And what else? Leave a comment below if you have anything. Like this video, share with your friends, tell them all about Kamen America. If they're like, what's that? And you can send them my video series. I think I gave a pretty decent explanation without showing too much. I left plenty of panels to be discovered on your own. The big surprises and big reveals I left ambiguous, didn't tell you everything. I think that's a good way to do it. I hope to encourage people to pick this up, pick these comics up. Not do all the work for you. Follow me on Twitter at @TheSuperDivorce, on Instagram at SuperDivorceBand, and take real good care. Keep kicking ass is what I was going to say. Love you lots. Take real good care. Keep kicking ass. All that stuff. All right. Lord willing, I'll be back very soon with another video for you to watch. Bye-bye.
We gonna go viral with this one.